Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started?
Yep.
We're trying to work through getting him reconnected here, but I'll try to wing it. So I guess, Aaron, do you want to go ahead and kick us off with what you've got? Aaron
Sure.
Lewis?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the webinar. I just want to start with a few housekeeping things. Um, I need to streamline the way people are communicating with me. I'm going to put a cell phone number, an office number, and an email address on our website. And if you're going to communicate with me, please use those things. If you have another number for me, discard it. Use the numbers that we're gonna put on the site, and that way I'm not searching for somebody's email. Also, if you are going to decline an assignment or turn something back, I must have an email. I answer the phone because I'm used to answering the phone. But when I ask you to send me an email, I really need that email. That's the way I check myself when I'm on the move. And that way we make sure that we get everything covered. So if you're going to turn in a game or you call me and let me know you can't make a game, I always ask, please send me an email. I need that to happen. I utilize that to check on myself and to make sure I follow up on things. I speak to a lot of people during the day, and I'll be the first to admit I may forget something. So that's why I ask you always email me. Uh, as you can probably tell, we are in a snow situation. Most of the schools are closed, but I ask you just to pay attention to Arbiter. There's no need to call me. If I don't cancel it on Arbiter, you may be going. Uh, right now, everything local is closed, but I will be canceling things in Arbiter. So please, I need to leave that line freed up for the ADs to reschedule the games. So if you can, please do not call me to check and see if your game is canceled. I will keep Arbiter updated. With that being said, the games will be rescheduled most likely. So I like to keep you with the game that I have you in, but in order to do that, your blocks must be updated. I am beginning to schedule uh, in January. So any blocks that you know you have, please put them in. It's a tremendous amount of work that goes into the scheduling, and then we still have people calling back after the schedule is published. You know, I was just getting ready to put that in. I forgot to block it. And then we have to redo the schedule. So again, I ask you, take the time, go in, lock out the things you know about. I understand that things do come up, but please do your blocks. Now, last couple weeks, we've had some fight situations. Um, Mr. Stone is going to go over our protocol. A couple of things I just want to highlight for you. Fight situation is not an opportunity to turn on your crew. I will call you to see what you saw, what you thought, but it's not an opportunity for you to go in on your crew. So you gain no ground with me doing that. Uh, I have been involved in a fight uh, in a game. I know several other uh, of our veterans have been involved in a fight, and sometimes people just come not to play basketball. So if you have the unfortunate opportunity to deal with a fight, if you would just take the time, remember how things went, review what happened, write down as much as you can, and then only talk to your partners and then to me. If I see a comment posted on media from an official, you might as well resign. We cannot have people talking about play situations to anybody else before we get it properly documented. So take the time, get yourself together, and then give me a call. But it is important that, we realize sometimes we're not refereeing basketball. And I know, as you've been around several games, you can feel tension going up in a game. So just be mindful. Sometimes it's not anybody's fault. It's just the kid did not want to play that night. So we just need to do what we're supposed to do. Again, I appreciate you guys coming to these webinars. It is a convenience for you guys. And if you know people who are not logged in or not taking care of business by viewing or attending these webinars, we need them on the meetings. We have fines associated with it, and now we have penalties that will include suspension. So we are serious about these meetings, and the information that we give out is very important. Again, the contact information that I have forwarded to Jim will be on the site. I will email it to everybody tonight. And if you would throw away any other numbers that you have besides the ones that I emailed to you tonight, and utilize that information to contact me going forward. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Aaron.
Jim?
Norman? Yeah.
Is Aaron still on the line?
I am.
Hey, Aaron, you want to comment real quick on what we talked about calling the game and leaving versus having game management handle that? I'm going to cover that, but I would like, because that's coming from your office through me, I'd like you to make a comment on that. Thanks.
And just another note on a fight situation, we as officials do not have the authority to end a game. That decision has to be made by the athletic director or the principal of that site. So, literally all hell can break loose, and they can clear the gym, and they can play with 3 players on 3 players. It's not our job to end the game, and we have to let them do that. That's not part of our responsibility.
I mean, I see you on there. Are you sure that it's not just an unmute thing? Okay. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Yeah. Okay. Norman, I think we got straight and is going to talk at you now. Norman?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Thank you, membership, for logging on to a webinar today, Sunday the 9th. I canceled the in-person due to the impending storm, so stay off the roads. I'm sure you'll see an email from your commissioner regarding canceled games for tomorrow, so pay particular attention to your emails and so forth on that. So I'll leave it up to the training committee for the rest of this webinar. We'll be quick with it, get you back to your families. But I would encourage you to make sure you know the attendance policy. Know that if you're not an observer, you're not to be in the locker room. Make sure that there's no profanity, that sort of thing. So adhere to all discipline. And Jim, that's all I have, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Norman. All right, Mr. Stone, you want to?
Sure, Jim. Thank you. I appreciate that. And for the good of the meeting, I have had Jim. Jim's been great. He has sent all my information. Everybody should have that in an email form today. I'm going to briefly address two of the issues that I sent information out on, and then the rest of that information you can read at your leisure. You will please note that I have attempted to reference all of the information that I put out with either a rule book reference, a case book reference, or a mechanics manual book reference. I think at times there are those who think I sit at home and dream some of this stuff up. I can assure you that I learned very quickly in this position not to go down a road of what I thought should be done, but to use the rule book, case book, and the mechanics manual as a reference. And as long as we do that, we can't go wrong. I do want to take very quickly a couple of seconds here and talk about the clarification of the clarification. That sounds like a redundant statement. It probably is. The backcourt rule, hopefully for the last time, has not changed. This is a clarification of a play that had not been addressed. I think probably what happened, as best I can glean from the discussions I've had with the folks in Indianapolis, is they had a play where the ball actually hit the floor in backcourt, but they never addressed the play where the ball did not hit the floor. The backcourt rule has not changed. As I said in my informational piece, it was this way last year, it's this way this year, and if they don't change the rule, it'll be this way next year. We only have to be concerned with three things. Was there possession in bounds? Was the offensive team the last team to touch it in front court? You'll note in the clarification it's the defense that touched it, not the offense. And was the offensive team the first to touch it in backcourt? I personally am more concerned with where we put the ball in play, because we have a tendency many times to bring the ball back to the division line and, in fact, put the ball in play in what is the new backcourt. We should be putting the ball in play in the new front court, because the new front court is actually where the backcourt violation occurred. So we put the ball in play at a spot closest to where that ball was touched, which may be all the way down on the end line under the basket. I don't know where it's touched, but wherever it's touched, that's where the violation occurred. Didn't occur when the ball passed over the division line. So don't add anything to the rule. Don't let it confuse you. Just realize that this is a clarification. They never say anything in the book about the rule changing. They only address the clarification. Hopefully this straightens things up. Anybody has a problem, give me a call. A couple of guys have called, and we'll make sure we take care of that. Okay, the next thing we want to talk about, if we can put it up, Jim, is the fight protocol. Aaron has already reviewed this. We have had this information. I actually gave everybody a copy of this in a meeting a couple of years ago. I don't know why it would be confusing to any of our officials. It's been on the website for at least 2 years, maybe longer. There are some elements that we all need to take a note of. Number one, we know, first of all, the guy that's going to get in trouble if he doesn't have the information is the commissioner. We can't let him hang out there to dry by not giving him the information. So at whatever point there's a altercation on the court, that we're not worried about the rule. Everybody should know the rule, okay? Technical fouls, how many, who they're on, how many free throws. That's not what we're talking about. Where we get in trouble is if we don't know who it was, when it happened, and what happened. So going back on what Aaron talked about, number one, we have to know who was in it. And you need to know that right away. You're over at the table, take a piece of paper and start writing down numbers. You need to know at what point it was, because if that game is suspended, they may go back and pick that game up where it was, and you need a record of that. And then three, and the most important thing of all is, well, there are four things. Three, I talked to one of our officials today, a long discussion about putting our hands on players. Remember, it's 2018, and there's a lawyer out there looking to hang somebody. whether it's you putting your hand on a player inappropriately in their judgment, not yours, whether it's grabbing somebody only to have them hit, and now you're involved in a lawsuit because they couldn't defend themselves. My recommendation, again, like it's always been, stay away from the players. We have administrators, coaches, game management people, and police officers to take care of that. We are not there to referee fights, and I know it's easy to jump in there and start grabbing people, but eventually we're going to get somebody sued because you put your hands on somebody and somebody's parent or that kid said they didn't appreciate that. So, you know, you got to do what you've got to do, but I'm on record as saying stay away from the players. Okay, last but not least, when we get to that locker room, you got to get your story straight, and that's a crew thing. But from that point on, unless asked by the commissioner, the referee, and the referee only, should do the talking for the crew. If a director of athletics comes in, make sure you get them to identify themselves as the director of athletics. And they certainly have a right to talk to the referee and know what happened. But nobody else. Don't discuss it with a coach. Don't discuss it with a fan. Don't talk about it outside of that locker room. And before you leave the locker room, you need to call 1-800-AARON, ASAP. If he's not there, leave a message as long as you need to leave it that describes what the problem is. We can't have directors of athletics and principals contacting the commissioner and he doesn't know what's going on. So read that fight protocol. You can do it step 1, step 2, step 3. It's all there. Now with the modern age of cell phones, you can have the official scorer come in. You can take a picture of the scorebook. If you need to, take both sides. There shouldn't be any reason why Aaron is short of information when a principal or AD calls him. And like I want to reiterate what he said. We just can't be talking about the fight to anybody because you don't know where that's going. And we can't be talking separately. We've got to be on board as a crew. So get your story straight and then have the referee talking. If a referee needs to talk to, if Jim Neal's a referee and Reggets is a U1 and Haywood's a U2, if Aaron needs to talk to Haywood, he'll call Haywood. If he needs to talk to Reggets, he'll call Reggets. But Jim is going to be the one who calls and files that report with Aaron, and Aaron will get the information from him, and they'll move forward with what they got to move forward with. But we just can't have anybody hung out to dry, especially the commissioner, because we've got games involved. We've got suspensions involved. In the case of a student athlete who may have been in more than one altercation, we could have them, left off the team if there are multiple altercations during the year. There's just too many things involved that he needs to know what goes on. So, Jim, that's all I've got. There's a lot of information that we sent out. We took a lot of time putting the information that you got from us today together. We've referenced everything in the mechanics manual that we could, and most of it is mechanics oriented. That seems to be where we are making our mistakes. It's not me on a pilgrimage to make everybody do things my way. It's the way we're supposed to do it according to the NFHS manual. And as long as we all do it that same way, then the crews will be more effective, more efficient. We'll do a better job in the games, and we'll understand what's going on. So, Jim, that's it for me.
All right, very good. Thank you, Jerry. And I'm assuming most, if not all, people have been on the new website. The information can be found under members, interpreter, and then officiating tips. You'll see fight protocol there. Also, rules help, information that Jerry's put together over the last couple to 3 years. It's up to date. And then also for the, yeah, go ahead.
One thing I was going to say, Jim, is if they go on that, I'm not technologically smart, but even I did the other night. I typed in fight protocol and hit the look, and the fight protocol came right up.
Yeah.
So
and also
that little window that allows you to put in the thing will tell you whether something is on that website in that category.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. And information that goes out on the broader emails, if you go to CVBOA posts, you'll see the latest few posts. We were just looking at the rule and mechanic clarification. So shouldn't be too difficult to navigate if you need to get to it. So with that, I think we're going to go to Haywood, if you're ready. And thanks again, Jerry. Appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank
I'm
you,
ready,
Jim.
Jim.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. And just get to the right spot.
Go to coaches first. Thank you.
All right. Hang with me for a second, Haywood, while I get this
Not a
thing.
problem. Not a problem.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. Yep.
Good evening, everyone, and I hope everyone has had a great first beginning of the season. I know I've been excited about the ball games that I've been in and the ball games that I have watched. Our interpreter, as well as our commissioner, has been doing an outstanding job communicating with us. Our interpreter has definitely put out some great work. Please read it. Commissioner put out 10 things, and I'm going to talk about 2 of those things that he put out. The first one I like to talk about is attitude of a basketball official. Have a great attitude with your game. I don't care if you're the U1, U2, the referee. Have fun out there. Be very serious about what you're doing. Get along well with each other. You're not going to agree with every call that your partner makes, so don't show any facial expression, because a coach can see that and he wants to divide us. So it shows in your body language. So have a great attitude. If somebody calls a block and you call a charge, don't get upset at the person. Talk about it once you get into the locker room. So let's have a positive attitude. Be coachable is the next thing. We don't know it all. None of us know it all. We're going to be coachable. If somebody come in the locker room or somebody asks you about a play, hey, just say thank you. Hey, I'll look at that. Look at it as if you was at a basketball camp. Every time you come off the floor, the guys critiquing you always ask you a question about a play. So be coachable. Everybody wants to be coachable. Next thing, we're going to work on this block charge. The block charge, where one person gives a block and one other person gives a charge. We're going to work on that. We're going to talk about it in the pregame. And what we're going to say in the pregame, we all going to post with our fist in the air. If the play is coming straight down, it's in the lane, post, fist in the air, process the play, then give your signal. It's not a punch. That's in the NBA and in the college. High school, we put our hand behind our head or it's on our hips. So we all, I don't care if it's coming from the slot, the center, or the trail. We're going to work on posting with our fists in the air, look to your partners, process the play, then we give our signal. I'm going to challenge all of us till our next meeting that we do not have a blodge where somebody's giving block and someone giving charge. We can do that. We can work on that, people. Okay, the next thing, taunting and baiting. We're going to take that out of our game. We are not going to allow any taunting and baiting. That really destroys our game. Kid blocks a shot, he blocks a shot, and then he going to clap in his face, technical foul. Blocks a shot, he going to holler in his face, technical foul. A guy shoots a three-pointer, and then he going to look to the opposite bench and then point to the bench, technical foul. If players face off at each other, technical foul. We want to be an association that, you know what? Hey, we're not taking it. We are not taking it. And what I'm finding out in our high school games, they don't listen as you talk to them. Blow the whistle. If a guy dunks and pull up on the rim, holler, technical foul. Let's cut all of that out of our ball game. Now let's look at our coaches. Our coaches, when you're talking with a coach, always be calm. Be a great listener. when you come talking with a coach. You don't have to have the last word. If he's talking to you, hey, the word I always use, okay. And I always use that. And I walk away. If the coach get out of hand and the assistant coach is standing up, you go to the head coach. Say, Coach, I need some help with this. Your assistant is standing up. Please help me with him. Keep your coaches in the box. They got 28 feet now. They can walk down that line. So please keep them in the box. Please be calm. But once they get out of hand, we must deal with that. Okay? So we're not taking anything, but know when to get that technical foul. All right, moving on to our lead position. But first, before I start talking about the lead position, I'm trying to get us to think the game. I always say that. Think the game. Think the time, the score, the situation. If a team got 3 fouls on them, Team A has 3 fouls, we don't want marginal contact and now they have 4 fouls to 0 because it brings the coach into the game. You don't want to have an illegal pick that has nothing to do with the play. It brings the coach in the game. You don't want any cheap and one and make it 4 to 0 and foul. So you always got to be thinking the time, the score, and the situation. So always think before you blow your whistle. The lead position. The lead position, our starting point is between the lane line and the 3-point line. We're going to get there. That's our starting point. The trail, we have to fight this, people. Mr. Stone put it in his notes. Get to the 28-foot line. We cannot referee from half court. Our slot position or center position, get 1 step below the free throw line. Okay? So in that lead position, this is where we can let the play start, develop, and finish. Again, start, develop, and finish in that lead position. You can be on your heels and let the play finish. Take care of the post. Any rough play. Know what they can get away with. So call the first foul. Always call the first foul. If we have a play to the basket and you know he flopped, call a foul. Call a block. Because we don't want kids falling down with no whistles on it. If they come in there and they fall down, block or either a charge. Be careful in the lead position calling rebound across the lane because you really don't see the whole play. We're going to trust the center to call that play opposite of the lead. When you're rotating lead, when you're rotating and you go across the lane, always referee where you came from. When you set up the center, please don't rotate too quickly. We want 2 C's. We want 2 C's versus 2 trails. Take care of your post, the lead position. Always let the play start, develop, and finish. And on out of bounds play from the lead position, if you don't know, ask for help. That's why we are a team out here. Ask for help in that lead position. The slot position. Take that jump shooter up, down, then rebound. Slot drive or center drives. Take him all the way to the basket. Take that jump shooter up, and when that jump shooter comes down on the defender's foot, that is a foul. We don't want him to come down on that defender's foot. So you must stay with that shooter. Be aggressive, centers. We need you to be aggressive. When the play curl away from the lead and curls right to you, center, blow your whistle. Because we're trying to train our lead. If you don't see it, we are not going to blow. Because he just throw his hands up in the air, it doesn't mean he got fouled. So the center has the best look at that play. In our trail position, people, please 28-foot line. Get there. Take the dribbler all the way to the basket. Same thing with you. Take that jump shooter up and bring him all the way down. Looking for the elbow. Also, do not let him land on a person's foot as well in that trail position. Be aggressive, trail. Be very aggressive. In your pregame, do not go into a ball game. I don't care who you're working with. 3 veterans, we must have pregame and talk about your responsibility and your area of coverage. Be a good teammate. Referee where your partners can't see. And we do that, we're gonna be great. The next thing I want to talk about is team officiating. Be a good partner. Prepare your crew. Have an answer. Make good eye-to-eye contact when you're out there refereeing. Have fun when you're refereeing. And be enjoyable. And I hope that's all I have for you this time. And I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And if I don't see you, and I hope that we can get together on Friday night and kick back on the West End. Take care.
All right. Thank you, Haywood. Very good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, Regis, before you jump on, I think Aaron, Commissioner Aaron, had another quick note. Aaron?
I had 2 quick things. Number 1, uniforms at the JV level. Leave them alone. Do not send anybody out of the game for a uniform that's too big at the JV level. Do not send them out of the game because the shorts are rolled up at the JV level. The reasoning behind this is every varsity program hands their uniform down to the JV level. And I'll give you one example. A young man the other night, 145 pounds. His shorts were a 3X. So that is not something we need to be dealing with. JV level, leave the shorts and the uniform issues alone. Our best thing we can do is have their shirt tails tucked in. Okay. The last thing I have is, if any coach or athletic director approaches you about a game, you need to say, have you talked to Aaron? We cannot take on the responsibility of getting his game into arbiter because he did not do it. He or she did not do it. So do not accept that responsibility. You are more than welcome to give them my number or give them my email, but do not walk out of that gym with that added responsibility on you. That's all I have, Jim.
Okay, great. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it. Jerry, Regis?
Jim, can you hold my screen up, sir?
It should be up. Should be good to go.
All right, I'm ready to go. Jerry, thank you very much. That was very good information. We appreciate those emails. Haywood, great job also. Thank you both of you for doing a super job. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all. I'm glad that you're all home nice and safe tonight. All right, I have a few little things here to go over and cover. All right, real quick, first of all, this is the evaluation form that we're using for the trainees, associate, and provisional people. I've contacted all the trainees, provisional, associate. The only thing that's different from last year is we are using this evaluation form. So, fellow officials, if you're working a game behind the people I just mentioned, trainees, provisional, associate members, they're going to hand you an envelope with the address of their big brother, big sister with a stamp. Please fill these evaluation forms out for these people. This is how we track them. They're big brothers, big sisters. Get with them every Sunday night and cover this valuable information, which is a part of training. And it's also our mentoring program for our younger men and women. When I say younger, I mean newer officials to our association. This is posted on the site. Jim will probably comment more on that later. And Jim, if you would email it to everyone so all my associate and provisional have them, I would appreciate it. All right, I'm going to the next one. Okay. Jim, am I still good?
Yep.
Okay, I have a real short clip here on 3-person backcourt coverage during a press. Please watch. I will stop and re-go as we move through this.
This is also posted under the training tab on the site also.
Our first clip focuses on the baseline official and his lack of movement toward trapping pressure. Letters C and T represent proper locations for coverage of this pressure. Center must move down as far as needed to see through this play and provide proper angles on this pressure.
All right, this is where the C should be. The T should not be this far over. No reason to ever go all the way through the lane. You're putting yourself in no man's land if there's a steal and a layup at that basket. I would suggest never coming further than the lane. I suppose you could, on a very dire situation, come into the lane a little bit. But here's the secret. The C, just like in the front court, dive down. When in doubt, where do I go? Don't think that anymore. Just dive down. Get below the free throw line, extend it. Remember, the trail should be somewhere up in this area if there's 8, 9 players. However, stop at midcourt. Check. Do I need to stop? Stop at the free throw line extended as you're the lead going down. Stop and check. Do I need to stop and hold?
We divide backcourt into 3 quadrants, with the new trail official not being more than 1 quadrant away from pressure on the ball and not moving past the center of the court. For coverage of this pressure, center should be no further down the court than the first line of defense. Trail official should not have fallen on the court, but moved immediately to the problem area.
Again, the C should have dived down.
Pressure fluctuations and get a good angle through the players.
Trail should be off the court.
This is a good example of trail official staying behind the ball, which allows him to look down the court while still seeing the dribbler, but not focusing entirely on the dribbler.
Trail the play. Look up the court and what the other players are doing. See if someone's going to come with a screen or a trap.
Trail does not cross the middle of the court, yet moves within a quadrant of the dribbler, ready to handle a pressure situation should it arise. Good movement by C official to step up in order to have an open look on the drive to the basket. With no pressure on the ball, stay behind the dribbler where you can still see the dribbler while watching down court for play development. Trail official and center official do not move into position in order to referee this backcourt trap. Proper position to referee this trap is indicated by the T and C letters.
I don't think we dive down as a C enough on a press.
Lead hesitates rather than going immediately toward the pressure, while center official starts to move down court before stepping slightly toward the trap. He does not position himself to be with the first line of defense.
First line of defense is probably the second defender or the first defender in your area.
And be ready for backcourt pressure. Move to see the play.
The C could come right down and helped out on that play tremendously. That's in his area.
With this backcourt backcourt pressure, trail again needs to close toward the trapping players, and new lead must not leave backcourt until the play allows him to do so. Center never moves toward the pressure on the ball, which is in his area. With 9 players in the backcourt, trail must help officiate this backcourt pressure. 2 shots are taken before he returns to backcourt. Proper location for officials are indicated by the T, C, and L letters. Location of the players dictate our position. Referee where the problem is taking place. Understand that traps often occur on the player who receives the throw-in pass.
Okay. Jerry, any comments on this?
No, except as a trail, no matter where you move to, remember, you've got sideline responsibilities coming up the floor.
Very good. Thank you. Haywood, any comments?
No, not at all.
All right. Y'all hang with me just a second. I don't want to close the wrong gizmo here. Okay. Now, I'm going to go over a two-man basketball slideshow. This was given to Jerry, a young man, Mr. Parnell, Nick Parnell, in our training class brought this to us, and we liked it so much that we're going to use it tonight if I can get it to open up. There we go. All right, two-man mechanics. We're going to put this on the site also. I'm going to hit the highlights on this. I should be able to cover this in 15 minutes. Jim, give me a little heads up when I need to wind down if we get to that point.
Yeah,
right.
We're about, 13 minutes away from 7. I think we said we were going to keep it at an hour. So.
Oh, I think I'm in good shape. All right, tips for basketball officiating. This applies to everything. Referee the defense. Stay in your primary. Jerry said something about that. Haywood said something about that. It's right here. It's a good idea. All right, see the entire play. Call the obvious. Fouls, displacement, puts them at disadvantage. Be a great off-ball official. Again, I'm going to kind of roll through this, and please, I encourage you all to go back and look at this. You never know when we go out to work a game, we might end up having to work it with 2. Basic signals. Again, get in the mirror. Visible counts. Clean, crisp. Your partner should be able to know what you're calling. They might not see the play, especially if they're being a great off-the-ball official. They might have an idea, but when you have good signals, it sells it to everyone. Violation. Blow your whistle. Now in the class, we teach them blow the whistle, raise the hand, give the signal, because we're putting it together. As we get a flow and we start getting better at our signals mechanics, that's going to all roll right in for us. Remember, you're better off, you're going to get a lot farther looking sharp and crisp than just by being good. You want to be the best you can be, but let's be sharp and crisp. Let's look like we've been there before. Good time to go back, and let's go back and get in that manual. We've been hitting this manual hard for 2 years now. We haven't overloaded you because there's so much in there, but we're getting to the end of covering a lot of the things that are in the manual. Now we're into the 2-person stuff. Look at your signals. Let's use proper signals, correct signals, communication, common vocabulary, common language. Sorry about that Facebook. My wife was on here and I don't know how to cut it off. I apologize to everyone. Types of fouls. Work on these signals so when we go to the table or we have to have a preliminary and a block charge, we look good, we look sharp, we sell the play. See the whole play, start, develop, finish. Haywood talked about that. Jerry always talks about that. Talks about freezing. If you freeze and observe the players, you're going to pick up any nonsense that's going on that you can take care of before it gets out of control. Continuous motion. We're working on common language, common vocabulary. Jerry has covered this in depth Geez, first meeting, second meeting this year and last year. Go back here and read through this. See the whole play, start to develop, finish. Continuous motion has no significance unless the foul is on the defense. There is a window of time, we've heard this before, that a defensive foul must occur or it is to be considered in the act of shooting. There is one error down here. The window opens when the try begins and closes when the ball is in flight, but remember, an airborne shooter is still in the act of shooting. This just quotes the rule: habitual motion precedes a shot, so on and so forth. Calling official at the spot. Remember, block charge plays, we need a preliminary. If you have an off the ball foul, get the foul, the person who commits the foul, and make sure you identify your shooter. Get your shooter. Let your partner know. I'm not going to go over rotations on reporting fouls. Reporting fouls, color, number, foul. Next, report what happened. And for example, if it's 2 shots, 1-on-1, or designated spot throwing. All right, talks about the wide triangle. Boxing in is another term we use. Don't run backwards. You're going to click your heels, trip and fall, and it will not feel good. Positions, lead, trail. Responsibilities, lead official, basically 2 to 3 steps in front of the 3-point arc on the baseline. Get a depth of 6 feet. That's something I think we all can work at. If we all get 5 to 6 feet off the baseline, you're going to get a much better angle, and it's imperative in 2 because you have so much more area to cover. You have to have more peripheral vision to pick up the plays in your area and be able to pick up plays when they start into your area. You can go out as far as the 3-point arc. Open your stance up to the best angle. That means at a 45-degree angle toward the middle of the floor. Post play. We've heard this before. Call the first foul. They dislodge or dispose. All right, now let's get into areas. Primary area, lead. Hey, this is pretty, we understand this. We understand the trail has that. All right, now, and Gary just mentioned the sideline, so we got to make sure we know what sidelines are our responsibility. Lead primary area, bounded by the end line, far lane line, free throw lane line extended, near sideline. Watch off the ball as appropriate. What does that mean? Well, that means this play right here, the trail should be covering this play. The lead should be somewhere in this area, but at an angle because he has to have all these players in his peripheral vision to pick up what's going on. Move with the ball. Well, so the ball just got kicked out toward the sideline. Trail. Dive down a little bit. You want to see through this play. Lead, close down. You should be closed down into this area. So move with the ball. You want to be able to see through the play. If you have the ball, you need to see through the players in your area. Primary area trail. Start at the 28-foot line. There we go. Haywood's always talking about that 28-foot line. We do also in 2-person. Area above the free throw line extended. Area outside the near lane line. Trail. It's very important that the trail cleans up the junction on both sides. Let's talk about this for just a second. If you're the trail in a 2-man game, you need to be cleaning up the free throw line and the junctions. Why? Because that's a long ways for the lead to look up through and to be able to see through anyone playing defense. Defense is usually between the offensive player and the basket. So trail, realize you've got to clean that area. Trail, close down, dive, excuse me, I need to use the right words. Dive down. You can really clean up that block on this side of the lane, your side. Leads over here. pretty hard to go from here and you start reaching all the way across the paint, you're going to be calling fouls backwards. You're going to call fouls that aren't there. Trail, realize you've got the best look to clean up this lane line and this block all the way down. I'm trying to get this to roll down, Jim. Okay. Trail responsibilities. Move laterally with the ball. Responsible for the three-point shot. Remember, I'm going to back up a slot here. Let's say the trail is over here on this side. We have the trail here and the lead here. Anything from the free throw line extended all the way around is the trail. Anything from the free throw line extended below is the lead for the primary on a three-point shot. Now, when in doubt, trail, go ahead and get it. Now, let's say you both go up with the preliminary at the same time. Well, just the person the play is not coming to, just drop your hand. One preliminary is all we need, and let's echo a made basket. Trail, three-point shot. Let's say it's a three-point shot right here. Not a bad idea for the trail. Trail probably should be coming down, diving down, probably in this part of the floor. Sneak a peek so you can help out the lead. There's only two of you out there. Sneak a peek on that shot, especially if it's in this area here. That way, if your partner looks at you, you can give them a preliminary and we get to play cover. Gray areas. Let's talk about gray areas. We can apply this to just about whatever we're doing, where it's 2 or 3 person. Let's say this play right here started in front of the trail. Trail, you stay with that play until you know the lead has been able to pick it up. Sometimes we let go of the play too soon and the lead hasn't picked it up, and now all of a sudden we have no call because nobody was watching the play. Be late letting the play leaving your primary and letting it go. Sometimes the lead can pick it up a little early, but we don't want to be picking up plays too early because then we've got wrecks over on this side or dislodged players we're not seeing. All right, so counts. Same thing with counts. We know the counts, the trail has all the counts in this area. We know the blue area, the lead has all the counts. If a count starts in your area, stay with the count. Even if it leaves your area, stay with the count until the count changes. Then, in this case, the lead would pick up the new count. We work what's called an arc as the trail. We work what's called an arc. You notice the trail's out here on the floor. Instead of being here, he's come back in that little arc so he can see through this play. Notice in two-man, the lead's in the paint a little bit. That's not a bad thing in two-person. However, if he was 6 feet off the line, he'd have so much better view. Wider is better, deeper is better. It opens up the angles in the view. Especially if you're busting your tail to beat a play down court. Don't try to cut the corner and twist and turn and beat those players. And we'll give you a little tip. Run right to this spot where the three-point line hits the baseline and stop right here. 4 or 5 feet past the line. 6 feet's the magic number, right? You'll be surprised at what opens up on that play on a one-on-one fast break, and you'll be able to see through it. Don't try to beat him. Either hold up and stop or run right straight to the base.
Hey, Jerry, this is Jim.
Yes,
I don't know how much more you have, but we're getting close to our 7 o'clock bell.
All right, I'll wrap it right up. I'm pretty close.
All right, very good.
Real quick, gray areas. Oh, my lovely wife, she's always posting. All right, gray areas. Lead has a better angle. I think what they're saying is if the ball's going, if we've got a play and we have a play where they're driving in this area, if they get down in that lane, double whistle. Hey, let's be late if we're outside. That way we don't have a double whistle. Let's let the play go to the person it's going to. So whoever the play is going to should be getting that call. That'll help a lot of things. And as they say here, lead has a better angle. Be aware of off the ball screens. Lead can protect trail's backside. If the play comes down in and the lead has it, then the trail's got to be able to cover the backside. Driving the lane. Last important thing I need to go over here. Drive down the lane. We know the lead, if the ball is coming right toward him, the lead needs to get the crash. Trail must help with the crash. If the passing crash, though, the lead has got to go with the ball if it gets kicked to the outside. So drive right down here. Trail stay with the crash and two-person. Lead, that ball gets passed this way, you've got to go out with it. Little trick. Get deep, get a little wider, and you might be able to see the entire play, but you've got to get the pass going this way. Pass goes that way, trail's going to go with the pass, and lead's got to pick up the crash. Again, a good pregame. Sometimes maybe some people do things a little different. I'm going to say maybe that's okay, but let's go to the manual, and again, let's continue to do what the manual says. Out of bounds, open hand, open hand, open hand. Please review your line boundaries. Remember the trail has the division line and the baseline. The lead has baseline at his end and the sideline to his left in this situation. Last but not least, here we go again. If a player has a foot inside this blue area and there's a violation or foul, the throw-in goes to the baseline. Again, a foot inside the blue area and there's a violation or a foul and it's a throw-in, the ball goes to the baseline. Continue to review this. Help your partner help. Sometimes you got to ask for help on that play. Sometimes you can help your partner if it's blatant. Eye contact, eye contact, eye contact. All my crews this year have been saying, hey, let's make sure we get eye contact. So that tells me maybe we're not doing a good job on that. All right, last of all, throw-in procedures. Remember, the lead is outside. If the person is here on the throw-in, the lead is outside. It's in the manual, page 36. Lead is always outside, boxed in. If the throw-in is way out here, yes, you can come inside. You'll know it if you have to get out there. But always box in and as the lead, be outside on the baseline on a throw-in. Boxing in, bump and run. That's just simply when the trail puts the ball in play in backcourt. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is the eyeball mechanic. I can't change this. I'm trying to, but in the manual, if you go to page 56, I do believe it is. Oh, I'm sorry, page 38, throw-in. Trail is always on the table side in two-person by the National Federation. All right. The free throw responsibilities is the same as three-person. Only difference is the trail has to get the people behind the arc. And the person down below might be able to help out if they come blown in. And it's really, really, really there. All right, transition. Stay a few steps behind the ball. Lead to trail. Stay behind the ball. Press coverage. Try not to get more than 45 feet apart. That's what we've always been told. That little rubber band, that bungee cord. Try not to get too stretched out. And substitutes, person at the table side or the trail. Might be the lead going down the floor. Last second shot. Trail, trail, trail. Responsibility in transition, communication. Who has the shot? Official has whistle at the buzzer. If the shot is released before the buzzer, whistle when the ball finishes. If you're going to disallow a basket because the ball was not released before the horn, blow that just as soon as you can. You need to kill that before that ball is 5 feet out of that shooter's hands. Let them all know. All
right, Jim, we good?
Okay.
Norman.
Yes.
Jim, hold on a second. Make a note, everybody, on page 30 in the casebook. Play 419-8. That was a big play that Haywood brought up the Blarge. Remember, the correct call in that is not, I've got this play. It's a double foul. It's a double foul. Double fouls involve no free throws. However, if that ball is in flight and it goes in, we count that basket. We actually had that happen in a game that the official got confused in a rule this year. If we have Haywood's got block, I've got charge, we've got an airborne shooter situation, the ball goes in, we count that basket. It's a point of interruption. That means if A scored, B gets the ball. There are no free throws. If the ball doesn't go in, then it's a point of interruption play because we don't have possession. So read that play on page 30, 419 situation C. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for everybody's patience. Norman, you had a couple closing remarks?
Yep. Thanks to the training committee. You guys did a good job. Just a reminder that the nominations are open today, so send your nominations for
All right. Looks like Norman, you're muted again. I tell you, in the interest of time, we're ran a little bit over. If anybody,
those who are running election. That's all I have, Jim.
okay, you were muted there for the last 30 seconds.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. Goes to Zach Branch. Zach Branch for president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and 4 at large. That is on as of right now. We good, Jim?
Yep. And if we missed anything,
When do they close?
email, keep everybody posted. Anybody else who's on audio, they've got any last minute things? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. All right, all good. Thanks for everybody's work and supporting this, and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Merry Christmas.
That was my mom that called in. She probably knows. Oh, I guarantee you out west, right?